hard, but it's absolutely possible.
I study indie game developer, so I sit in front of a computer the whole day. I'm here at The Great Journey because I want a career in games.
The Great Journey has given me the ability to become a game developer, and it's one of my dreams.
A place where you can fulfill your potential and where you can find a lot of interesting ideas and collaborations.
Right now I'm going to school here. They have an education, which is amazing. And at the same time I work with a studio where I'm a writer and I do research for our game.
I got together with a couple of people and we created an ID, and that ID ended up being a game.
They're gamers, they're artists, they're programmers, they're kind of everyone.
So,
let's go. I have arrived. So, that was a request from the Discord channel, and I hope you are satisfied with that, at least. So I see that we have a lot of questions popping up, and it's really good. So continue, just post your questions in the chat in either Discord or at the YouTube channel here at chat. So welcome everyone. So today we have a lunch talk, and it's not like we usually do a lunch talk.
No.
It's a little bit special, but first of all, lunch talk is a bi-weekly event that we do here at The Great Journey. We will invite people from the industry, the video game industry, but also from like the publisher side and so on, to talk about their experience and share their knowledge with us. So my name is Rosanna Johansson, and I am the Community and Communication Manager here at The Great Journey. And with me today, I have my colleague Björn. So please wave and present yourself.
Yeah. Hello everybody. As Rosanna said, my name is Björn, and I'm usually one sitting behind the camera. So if there have been any problems during live streams, you know who to blame. But yeah, let's get into the lunch talk maybe.
Yeah, it's not us that we are here to listen to, even if that would also be nice if you were here to listen to us, but we're actually here because we have Robin Eyre with us today from Iron Gate Studio, the creators of a little game called Valheim. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you. It's nice to be on.
So nice to have you here. We have a lot of people who are really happy to have you here, actually. A lot of people are like, oh, so nice. Can we get the link to the Discord? If someone would like to post a link to Discord in the YouTube chat, please do. I can't really do the moderation when I'm live. But super nice to have you here, Robin.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. We'll see if everyone thinks it's just as nice after this as well. We shall see.
They will. I can guarantee it. We have had some meetings with you, and it's been a delight. So, So would you please like to? I think we can start with tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So my name is Robin. I was going to say how old I am, but then I forgot how old I am. I'm 37. I like doing stuff, finding out new stuff to do. I guess that's my most valuable trait, is that I'm really interested in learning new things. So I like blacksmithing. I like like I said before, I like shooting arrows, bow and arrows, building stuff like this bad boy that I'm sitting in right here. This is my own kind of sofa couch thing for my own size, that is. So yeah.
Nice, thank you. We presented you. I don't know if I actually said it, but I was supposed to say that you are the main artist. Would you like to describe your role a little bit?
I say main artist because we've basically got no other artists. Since I'm the main person who does everything. I do everything from concept art, illustration, 3D modeling, animation, cut the first trailer. I'm involved in the music a bit, or quite a lot actually. I'm everywhere. I'm everybody's shadow at Iron Gate, basically.
It sounds like a lot. I know that they like you have so many hats on. Pun intended.
Yes.
How is it to juggle like all the roles together?
Oh, it's fun. It's super fun. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want to be just a cog in a machine. I just feel like so a normal Monday, Richard might come in and he'll just say, "Oh, Robin, we need to do a 3D model of this thing," and on Tuesday we'll say, "Oh, by the way, we also need to animate that other thing." Okay, so let me just finish, and I'll jump over to that thing, and then okay, we need some concept of this. All right, I'll jump over and do that thing. And it refreshes my batteries, so I get like a new take on everything I do all the time, because I go from concept arting something, putting that aside, leaving that for feedback, and then I go back to modeling, and sometimes I'll just take some stuff from the concept art and just put it in entirely different model, because we like the design of the concept, which is pretty cool, I think, and I don't think I would like it any other way.
So the pipeline is like you are doing everything in the pipeline, kind of.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And just because I think sometimes when you do concept art, which is it's nice to have, but it's just like extra flair if you've got concept art. But the thing is, if you're talking between two people and someone's doing the concept art and he or she is doing the art and I'm supposed to model it, sometimes I think that when you start modeling, you might miss some things that the person really wanted to have in the model. But when you're one and the same person, you never miss it.
Yeah, true, because you're part of everything all the way.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really interesting, because since you're also talking about like doing all these steps kind of thing, do you have any like course or education that you've done, like studied for this stuff?
No. No. Okay, well, okay, so if we go way back in an age far long back in the time, I went to something called estetbild och formgivning during this high school. And that was basically, I wanted to go there just because I wanted to become a character artist after playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And that game just made me want to become a character artist and just focus on that entirely. But after that, I don't think I actually had any more education within this field. I wanted to start studying at Skövde, those over there, but I remember I had 2 bad grades.
Oh no!
So I was like, oh no, my future is destroyed. I can't do this. I need education, because everyone was saying you need education or otherwise you can't work in the game industry. Like, okay, all right. So I started when I was like 20 years old, like 23. After I came back from Japan, I started like 2-3 hours each evening, just painting with my Wacom tablet. And after a few years of that, I just felt like, okay, so these images are not taking me anywhere. I know art, well, basic art, concept art and illustrations, but they're not doing anything. So I started modeling just to make them, I don't know, come to life. But after I learned modeling, it was like, oh, they're not doing anything again. So I need to animate them. All right, so I taught myself how to animate them, and then I was like, okay, but they don't have a purpose anymore. They're doing stuff, but not together. I need to put them in an engine. So I started using Unreal Engine. This was just around the time when Unreal 4, you had to pay for it, I think. Then just 1 month after that, they made it free, which was nice. And then so I started working in Unreal Engine 4, basically.
My God, that is like so inspiring, such an amazing journey. Because I kind of feel the same. I studied a lot when I studied game design for 3 years. And when I came up from there, I was like, I don't even know what to do now. And it took me like 6 years to find my way again. So you were super interested in video games, and you just like, I want to do this.
Yep.
So you just learned.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's even more content that'll make you able to learn stuff these days than back in my time, which is just a few years ago. But I mean, yeah, there's so much content that will teach you how to do things, and you just have to stay disciplined, I guess. Like, it was so difficult for me in the beginning to stay disciplined doing one and the same thing, but what helped me there was just creating an IP that I'll put stuff into all the time, like dedicate my energy to creating this world. How would the concepts look like? What would the models look like in this world? And I mean, just doing small game projects helped me out a lot as well, just understanding mechanics and why can't I use these kind of models in this kind of game, which I think has helped me a lot. Lots of content, use internet, Google. Basically.
Oh, but it's so good. It is so good. We had a question actually about, we talked a little bit about using a Wacom when you started out. Someone asked, do you prefer using standard tablets or Cintiqs when you're drawing or painting on a screen?
I enjoy more the tablets. I don't, and I think this is because I got a Cintiq now, but I don't like it because my hand is in the way all the time. I'm not used to seeing my hand, and it's just covering the image all the time. I don't use a tablet when I'm modeling, but I do use a tablet sometimes when I'm texture painting directly onto a model. It gives me better control and feel for it. But yeah, so when I'm doing texture painting, tablet. When I'm doing illustrations, tablet. I've got a Cintiq, but yeah.
Not really there yet. Not
really there yet. No.
So you started out doing something else, and then you just, like, during your free time, worked your way up, if we can call it that. Worked your way up through, like, starting with, I want to draw, I want to do stuff, this stuff needs to do stuff, and just continue building upon that. So how did you end up at Iron Gates?
Interesting, because I actually never worked at a big company before. I was working for many startup places, which never led to anything. And I'd mostly be working for free or for the exposure. And
the exposure. The exposure thing.
But yeah, so it was basically, we had bought our house, and I was working in Jönköping by that time. And one day my friend Simon, he sent me a link, like, oh, look at these guys. It looks like something that you could work on. Like, it does. And I saw these pixelated lo-fi images of Valheim. So I sent my resume, which was basically nothing, to Richard and Henrik, and I didn't think more of that. But a few weeks later, they were like, oh, would you like to do an art test? Yeah, sure. And I did the art test, and I tried to use all my skills at that point. So I was like, okay, I know they wanted a generalist. So I was like, okay, so if they want a generalist, I need to show that I'm a real generalist then, because that's what I actually am. So I made a big presentation. They wanted some creatures, and they wanted one creature, and they wanted it animated, and roughly how long it would take to create the creature. And I had 1 week to do this, so I was like, okay, they want one creature, I'll give them 2 creatures. So I made 2 creatures, and then I made like a presentation with like Norse runes around the sides and character information and everything. So it was like finally presented, and I think that helped me stick out from the rest. But I wasn't their first-hand choice.
Oh, really?
No, I was actually their third choice, because the other 2, they didn't want to move to Skövde.
Oh, yeah.
And I was basically prepared to take the 40 minutes drive to Skövde every day. Yeah, so that's how I got the job.
But that's really interesting, because that also shows like the dedication and the loyalty. Like, what am I willing to do for this? And I think that's really inspiring and really like admirable, I would say. Because some people, we have a lot of people here that are either students or are like in the beginning of their journey of starting a studio or joining another studio, and yes, it might feel a little bit discouraging, like if you haven't been in this business for long, if you haven't had any big companies behind you, or you haven't really released anything yet, like how do you go about it? So I think that's really, like, it's really nice to hear it from someone who have gone through like a similar journey to what they are doing.
No, I think it takes a lot of dedication. It also takes a lot of timing. That's what I mean. If just one of the other people had said yes, I wouldn't be here now. I would not be sitting here right now. So it's a lot of timing and just coincidence as well. But I think that you have to at least put yourself out there, just because at one point I wasn't even looking for jobs at all. I was like, never mind. But then when I started looking for jobs, I was actually applying for several places at the same time, which I thought was interesting for me to work at. And sometimes it's just about throwing out a fish hook and hoping that you'll get a catch.
No, but I totally agree. I kind of did the same. I have, I like, when I got into the games industry in the beginning, I was like, it was a Facebook post that said, "Hi, we are looking for someone. This is an email address you can email to."
Yep. And I mean, so for example, now we threw out 3 placements for an animator and 1 for QA and for a programmer. And I thought we were going to get more animators, but we just got like 20 people, which is good. I mean, some of them are really talented, but some of them didn't even send in their portfolios. And for me, when I was checking out the portfolios or the applications, I was a bit underwhelmed that people were not sending in portfolios, because that's one thing that I actually checked the first thing. Is like, what are you good at, and how long does it take for you to do something? And then after that, I checked their personal letter, and the last thing I check is, what have you been doing? Like, where have you been working before this? Because at least at Iron Gate, that really doesn't matter if you have been working like at Blizzard or Riot Games or anything, as long as it's good quality. And also, we need to be able to take a cup of coffee together, because if you can't take a cup of coffee with us, it's or tea.
Or tea, yeah.
I'm not a coffeeist or a teaist. But I mean, that's really important, especially at Iron Gate. We need friendly people who are able to have open discussions and willing to be able to discuss things and take feedback in a good way.
Yeah, because you're also very small team for this huge game that you have produced.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to become that big though. We just want to stay pretty small, because we noticed that, or especially Richard, he's been working at Pieces and some other place, I don't remember. But when you start to feel like you're just a cog in the machine and it doesn't really matter, I think that really reflects that it really doesn't matter. And does your life then matter? What are you doing? We want everyone to just be involved, so we don't want a big team. We want everyone involved.
Yeah, and basically, you have also done as I said, you're a small team, and it's a huge game, and you are kind of like, I think you said like you have been 1.5 artists, kinda, but mostly one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So being a generalist have helped you in that kind of way, because you have been mostly responsible over the whole journey for that.
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know really how to say this, but I mean, the thing is that when you, for example, in my situation, when I get to even be involved in the music, for example, what should the music sound like? And everything from just cutting and recording a trailer like in studio and not outsourcing it to someone else. It has been, I don't know, it's been really rewarding, because I have a really deep understanding of the game and why things work the way they work. While let's say someone else is just doing the dungeons, like Eric. He's doing a lot of dungeon designs and just dungeon. He might not really know why the bosses work the way they work.
Yeah.
Which is also cool, because then you get the discussion, why does it work like this? And then you have to explain it. And if it doesn't make sense when you're explaining it to someone who's not really into the bosses, then maybe it doesn't work.
That's true, yeah.
Which is good.
Communication in both like the visuals, but the audio and also the gameplay is really important to like make it kind of lean, simple to understand. We have a lot of people asking questions, and some people are asking about like, when did you come into the company? Like, where were, like, if I understand correctly, Valheim have been in production for around 2 years now.
Yes.
Great.
I came in 2019 so I was the first employee to come in after they created Henrik and Richard. They created the company, I think 2019, and they started looking for people in May 2019, and I started working at 2019 August.
So just like over the summer.
Yeah. So when I came on board, the meadows was basically there. The Black Forest was basically there, and swamps were basically there. And I remember the first week I started there, we had a big meeting with Coffee Stain, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to meet people from Coffee Stain. This is going to be so awesome."
Yeah, because you're working with Coffee Stain. They are your publishers for this game.
Yes, exactly. And at that meeting, which was interesting, because I thought that we had to listen to anything Coffee Stain said. Like, if they say, make it more green, then we have to make it more green because they're our publishers. But I remember after the meeting, that we said like, oh, we're going to start working on Heathlands, which is now called Plains. That's what we want to create and do. But after the meeting, we went back, and like 1 week after the meeting, Richard comes and says, we need to create the mountain biome. And I was like, but Coffee Stain said we had to, the Coffee Stain people, but. And it was like, nah, we can't listen to them. We're making mountains. And I think that's the whole process has always been like, whatever Richard feels like we should do, we just do. We just do it. We have a discussion. Is it a high priority? And then we figure it out. If it is or isn't, then we do it or don't. But yeah, I don't even know what the question was. But yeah.
So when you came into Iron Gate, was the graphic style already set, or did you go back to the different biomes and rework them in the graphic style that you wanted?
So when I applied for working on Valheim or working at Iron Gate, I was sent 3 small screenshots of basically it was a neck, it was a troll which was brown back then, and there was there was something else. Anyway, I did not understand the style at all. I thought I was coming on board to fix the style. that was my idea. I was like, all right, they need someone to help them fix the style. I get it. They want, and then when I actually started playing Valheim, I was like, they don't need fixing the style. This is perfectly good as it is. But what happened is, I mean, since then we've obviously gone in and tweaked a lot of the lighting that helps out the game a lot. And so no, I've actually not gone back and fixed anything, but we have improved a lot of the way we think about designing things in Valheim.
Nice, because we also get a lot of questions since you oversee and actually make all the whole process of the pipeline. How is it, like, I would say, how is it to like it easy when you are just one person to just get stuck or tunnel vision? And when you go into like a pitfall like that, how do you come up from that, or how would you work with it?
So I remember a few weeks before we had the early access launch.
Mm.
We had Eiktyr, which is the first boss in the game.
Mm.
We always thought the Eiktyr was a bit boring, but we didn't know. Okay, so basically he was a big stag, a big brown stag with a little bit blood on his antlers. And he just did like 2 attacks or something like that. There was no lightning, there were no chains or anything like that. But I remember we were talking, what do we want to do? And we couldn't really figure out what we want to change with Ake to just make him more beefier and more menacing somehow. Then Richard said, "Oh, Robin, just do something cool." All right. So I didn't even, do something. It was like, just do something. Do something wild. And I didn't even make a concept for that at all. I just like took the model and remade it from the ground up and had new rig and everything, and just like, oh, it would be cool with chains. Chains feel very evil. Let's put them in the horns. Let's give him a bit more fur. That seems he'll become a little bit more ancient if he has more hair. What else did we do? Oh, bigger hooves. And make the fur a bit more black as well. And just by doing that, like simple, I think I redid it took like maybe 1 day to make the model and the rig Eiktyr. And it took about a week to implement the new Eiktyr with new animations and new lightning. So I just handed over a model with animations to Richard, and it was like, oh, it would. And then from his side, it was like, oh, it would be cool if he shot lightning. We don't have lightning in the game. I'll make lightning. Okay, now we've got lightning. It took about a week for us to implement the new boss, which is cool because we were standing at a point where we don't know what we want to do, but Robin, do something. And then I was like, okay, I'll do something. Let's do something different.
I would say, since we were talking about a little bit about, like, this is kind of like a pain point or a pitfall, like, how do we get over hurdles? Like, what would you say would be the biggest hurdle to get over, that you have gotten over during this process? Because it's a long process to work with a game.
The biggest process has actually been, I come from a background with the Maya and ZBrush as my go-to tools. And when I started Iron Gate, they said like, oh, don't worry, we'll get ZBrush and we'll get Maya for you, don't worry about that. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, these guys are nice. I thought I had to learn like new software and stuff. The first day I got there, they're like, you're not getting Maya, you're not getting ZBrush. I was like, what? But what am I supposed to do? Here's Blender. Instead of Photoshop, use Krita instead. And I was like, okay. So that's the biggest, actually the biggest challenge was just learning Blender, which took about a month until I got into that, and Krita wasn't that bad to get into either. But I will never go back to Blender or Maya now. I mean, never go back to ZBrush or Maya. I'm totally converted to Blender. So cheers, Blender.
cheers to it.
Yes.
I would say I have, like, all of you who are watching, you have sent in some questions, and I'm gonna look into them. And we also have some new questions here at this. So I'm just gonna look through and pick some, because we are talking a lot about the game development now, and I think that's really interesting and what people are very interested in. And I would pick one that I think is really interested, and it is actually, like, even if you were not there at the start, what would you tell people who are in the beginning? Like, if they want to start their own studio, for example, or they want to start doing the role they want, looking for work. Like, what advice would you give them?
I'd say try to be true to yourself, and don't try, like, if you are super good at a specific style or a specific animation set, try to find those places where you think those skills would come to use as much as possible. I've seen people who want to come work at us, and they want to do like more Disney kind of animations, and we can't accept that because it won't work in Valheim. Even though you could be the best animator in the world, but if you're coming to us with Disney style animations, it's not what we're looking for. So I would just say try to if you can work with your skills and try to pinpoint what's your best skill, look for a company that your skills would actually be used to the most maximum. Or if you're starting out by yourself, just exaggerate everything. I don't know.
Make bigger hooves.
Yes, exactly. Bigger hooves. Yeah, but in presentation, I mean, like, even if you're just doing a small, because we look at a lot of games and try to like see why do we like these games, and most often we tend to think that most indie games are always more interesting than the AAA productions, and it's because you see the love coming out and all the passion coming out as well. So if you're just working on your own little solo project, just put in more love. Just more love, dump in more love, more passion.
Oh, that is so good. I love it.
Because, and also the publishers will see that as well. I mean, when Richard went to Sebastian at Coffee Stain, Sebastian really early could see that he was putting in a lot of love and effort in this game. And Richard was at one time, I think he wanted to self-publish it as well, but or am I just making things up? I don't know.
But how has it been? Like you touched upon it a little bit, like working with a publisher, and it felt like they are pretty chill about it. Like Richard want to do this, then Richard does this kind of thing.
Yes. I think you'll run into a lot of different publishers. I think that Coffee Stain are really good at letting the developer do what they want to do. As long as the prototype and everything looks really good, I think Coffee Stain has been really, really easy to work with. We listen to a lot what they say, but mostly it's still trusting your own instincts, I think. I mean, we had a lot of discussions about the onboarding of the game, how people would perceive Valheim at all, just coming into the game when you get dropped off and you arrive. And I mean, Coffee, they had their own idea that, okay, so it was much more difficult from the beginning. But they said, like, oh, this is too difficult for us to play even. Could we make it a little bit easier? And we were like, no, it has to be difficult. It has to be, it was like 10 times more difficult in Meadows before, just so you know. We did change it just to make some kind of compromise, I guess, so that people would actually come in and try to learn the game. And that's important. And most often, publishers do know what they're talking about, especially if they have released a couple of games. So some advice is needed as well during the process.
Now Björn is up and walking here on our side. Our camera is a little bit glitchy, so we are looking into it. So if we disappear from the stream, we are still here, and you're gonna see us soon. We have a lot of people asking about Valheim and the boom and everything that happened now when it was released in early access. And I would like to know a little bit more about, or I would like to know, as I am the only one asking, we would like to know a little bit more, like, how was it like in the preparation stages of getting the early access out and then releasing it and then getting this overwhelming amount of feedback, I imagine.
We started preparing early 2020. I think because we got a spot on PC Gamer Show. So we decided to cut our own trailer. Coffee wanted to outsource it, but I was like, I think I want to cut this myself, and I think it would be better if we show our version of what we want to show in Valheim. That took about 3 months. About 3 months for us to cut that video, that first trailer. So, and that was that for June, I think. We also had a trailer coming out on the Guerrilla Collective around that time.
Ah, right, yeah.
Which is really good. Guerrilla Collective is a good way to, if you can. I do not know if they are still up and running, but if they do have, they might have shows coming this year as well, I think. But the Guerrilla Collective is something I'd recommend because they just showcase indie games. But I mean, we started preparing 2020.
Yeah.
And we wanted to release the game in November 2020.
Oh.
But we had, because we're a Viking game, you had Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed.
Yes. And we felt like we can't go up against them, and so we pushed the date forward to just around the time when Cyberpunk was going to get released. So it was like, we can't compete with them, so we pushed it even more further down to February. But basically, we were pushing a lot of material out onto all the platforms that we could get a hold of, basically. But we didn't get any good feedback or any traction at all anywhere. People, I mean, this is the weird thing. Back a year ago, people hated the looks of Valheim. It was like, why PlayStation 1 kind of looks? This is bad. The game is automatically bad. Pixels are big, but the game is bad. But all of a sudden, when you release the game, and people started playing it, people were converted, and I don't know why, but it feels like people were hating a lot just to hate. I don't know.
They're like, we're judging this even before we're trying it. That must have been so frustrating.
Oh, it was. We were actually second guessing ourselves a lot of times. Like, do we need to up the graphics? And we're like, no, we should stick to our guns. Do we need to make the game easier? No, we should actually make it more difficult. But yeah, we were just trying to push out Valheim as much as we could everywhere during 2020. And we didn't even get that much response from that, to be honest. It was maybe we had Amuna Mart make a video, or we got the license for that song, and we had that trailer. That gave us a little bit of bigger push. And we needed to describe for everyone that you die a lot in Valheim.
Yeah.
Which was nice. But I mean, when we released it, what was the question, by the way?
No, it was just like how it felt, because from the outside, all we could see was like, in one way, it was just there one day.
Oh, right, yeah. So, okay, how it felt. Stress.
Yeah.
A lot of stress. We were sitting February the 2nd. We were sitting just together with Sebastian and sitting in a chat, and just at 4. Okay, so everyone's sitting and waiting in Discord. Like, when are you releasing the game? What time? People in the US were sitting up really late, and we didn't go out with the time at all. We're like, we'll just publish it at 4 o'clock, but we won't say anything. And people were getting more angry. Aren't you going to release the game soon? And so Sebastian comes into our chat, and we were talking about, okay, at 4 o'clock, 15 minutes before 4, Lisa, you'll press this button. Richard, you press that button, and I'll press some buttons over here. And I was like, I'm not pressing buttons, so I'll just sit here then, I guess. And they pressed the buttons, and then it was released. We went down to chat, me and Richard, but he didn't actually follow down to the chat. So I was actually alone in this huge, it was like lots of people sitting in that chat. And everyone was just cheering, which was nice. But I remember that people, when they started downloading it, people were like, you can download the game! And they were like, it's just 1 gig. This feels strange.
Oh no.
Why is it just 1 gig? Oh guys, I'm already playing. I'm playing now, guys. And after that, there was really no return from that. And I thought that we were just going to get 20,000 sales at all, period. Like that week, if we got 20,000 sales, we would be happy that we should celebrate 20,000 sales. I think we had 50,000 sales within the first hour or something, or the first day or something like that.
Oh my god!
Which was amazing. Which is, it's also weird because we never crunched. We never put in extra time for the game. We don't feel that Valheim has been difficult to produce at all. We work 7-hour workdays, by the way. We don't work 8-hour workdays. What else? like we even now, we were stressed like last week, just because we didn't push out a patch last week. But there is no stress right now. We haven't felt that much stress, to be honest.
That sounds amazing, because that's also a question that have been asked a lot. Is like, have there been crunch? Like, oh my god, there's crunch everywhere, and we at the Great Journey, we don't want people to crunch. Like, we want to foster sustainable game development. So it's really nice to hear that you also, like at Iron Gate, also feel that crunch is not really what we want to do.
I believe that the reason why we don't have to crunch is because I think it's it comes down to our pipeline. It doesn't take that long for us to produce content, but it does take a little bit more time to implement new content, like a brand new mechanic. It has to be tested and so on. But once you've got a chest, you can just make another chest that looks like that chest and it'll work the same. So that doesn't really take more than maximum like 1 day to push out that. I mean, I say 1 day, but it's more like a few hours. And I think that's a big reason why we don't have to crunch, because a lot of the things are already implemented. The systems are there. We just have to make art content basically for it. So I mean, Henrik is really a strong believer in do not crunch, and if you crunch, you get extra pay. But we haven't got any extra pay because we don't crunch.
It's like we have a backup system, but we don't want to use it if we can, because that's also one of the things that are in the controversy of crunch. But we don't need to go into that. It's like that at least pay people more if they need to crunch. But that's really, really nice to hear. And there are a lot of people who are like in the chats, like, the crunch culture must die.
But there is also because so there's a big thing, because I work. I do stuff at home for free because I like doing stuff. Even if I work the entire day at Iron Gate and I come home, if I'm working at the studio, I'm not working there right now, but I come home and in my spare, when the kids go to sleep, I get a few hours to do stuff. I don't actually play games. I just go like, I wonder how cloth simulation works nowadays. and I'll like sit and do some cloth simulation or fur simulation. Or yesterday I was actually animating Valheim, just like what if Valheim was an anime. And I was just trying out like how would that look like. And I haven't done hand animated stuff, hand painted animations in 14 years. So it was pretty fun just sitting and doing like alternate stuff. And sometimes it gets implemented into the game and sometimes it doesn't.
But it sounds like you are still continuing to develop yourself, like you did, like you told us in the beginning of your journey. Like just continuing.
I don't want to stagnate. I don't want to stand still. It's really important for me to continue evolving my skills, and I don't know, it's just I've got this life. I don't want it to end with I'm really good at just this one thing. I want to be good at all things, or at least have an understanding how things work. For example, when we implemented carrots, do you guys know how carrots grow? how do you actually get carrots to grow?
I don't know.
How do you produce? All right, I will be quiet.
Yeah.
How do you get carrots to grow?
You plant a seed, and then the seed shoots something green, and then the green starts to shoot something that is
something like that, I think.
Orange.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you've got one carrot. So how do you get more carrots?
Oh, many more of them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if you stick one carrot down, you're only getting one carrot if you pull it up.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, so that a lot of those things come into play when you start to make these mechanics in game. Like we don't even know, is this how sailing actually works? Is this how you actually produce carrots? So we had to research a lot of things just to see like, oh, this is actually how you sail real ships. It's not actually a motorboat.
I think that like I don't want to end this. I think we are doing like this is so nice. Just talking to you, just asking questions, but it's 1 o'clock on my computer, so we need to end, and I'm really sad that we need to do that.
All right, okay.
I would
I could go on for an hour, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you guys want to give up, I'll let you guys give up then.
give up. What is this challenging here?
All right, it's up to you
so,
guys.
Yeah. We need to end. Maybe we can do another one later on. We will see. It all depends on how available you are and how everything. Because I feel like there's a lot of questions that were asked to me that I can't really convey to you. But before we end, is there anything you would like to tell our audience in any way?
I think. All right. So for anyone who's developing their own game, I think just stick to your guns. Stick to what your vision is. That's one thing I always help Richard with. Like, what's the original vision? Stick to that. Don't let anyone change that vision, because it has to be your North Star. And we didn't create Valheim for 5 million people. We made it for, like I said, just a small group of people. That's what we wanted. And we want to continue fulfilling our vision of it, not everyone else's vision. So that's for all the developers, and then for everyone who played Valheim, just thank you so much. And also everyone who refunded Valheim, thank you so much, because we don't want anyone playing the game if you don't like it. So go refund Valheim if you don't like it.
Thank you so much, Robin. So before we end from our side, I would like to thank you everyone who have been watching, who have been chatting. A lot of people are saying thanks, Robin, so I'm going to send it over to you later on. And yeah, we have one event coming up next week, which is called Friday Stories, which is a talk and jam kind of session with 2 hours, where we have Andreas Stjernheim from Sticky Beat coming. And he will teach us, in a way, and talk about how we can help the world by having fun. So we have all the info on our website, so please check it out and sign up. My name is Rosanna, we have Björn here, and we have had Robin with us today. So we are all 3 actually on our Discord, so if you want to do anything, just come in there and ping us and see what's happening. So thank you, everyone, and see you next Lunch Talk. And we're gonna go out with information on that soon.
Yeah. See you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.